Hey, this is your favorite financial behavioralist, Mark Becker from Wiser Financial Coaching, here to ask you this question. Did you ever have the feeling that you wanted to go?
Feeling that you wanted to go, still have the feeling that you wanted to stay. Start to go, change your mind, start to go again, but change your mind again. It'll come, have the feeling that you wanted to go, still have the feeling that you wanted to stay. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, I go.
So, that's a really funny song, Jimmy Durante, for any of you that actually can remember that far back. But we're sort of in this situation right now where people are a little bit confused and not really sure about how they're feeling about things. Should they go? Should they stay? So I want to talk a little bit about the psychology that we all have, not just as investors, but as people when we're in tumultuous times and hearing lots of different types of news out there. So right now we're going to take a look at this chart that's going back towards the end of March, showing basically the Dow Jones Industrial Average and its activity over this period of time. And you'll notice that we have a number of maybe want to stay and maybe want to go moments. Up here towards the beginning of the chart, you can see when the Dow reached its peak at about 11,400. Shortly after that, we started getting news about the problems in Greece, and the market started coming down, and we see it sort of bottoming out. These are maybe I need to go moments as we see this thing plummet all the way down here over about a month and a half ago, and then start coming back up again. So what can we discern from this type of market movement? Well, in short-term market movement, we can't really discern a whole lot. This sort of looks like a drunken sailor, for example, but outside of that, what is it really telling us? Well, let's take a look at what the market's actually been doing. If we aggregate all this information together, this next slide is showing basically a simple moving average for what the Dow Jones Industrial Average has been doing along that period of time. And what we see is it's basically not been doing anything. Our fancy financial term for a market like this is a non-directional or directionless market. So what information are we going to determine from a directionless market? You're probably guessing that correctly here. We really can't discern a lot of information from a directionless market. But even though the market isn't emotional and is sort of directionless, that still is not helping us as investors keep our emotions from playing on different directions. And here's a big reason why. We're going to take a look at a couple of different headlines, recent headlines. So here's one. This looks pretty good news. But here's another one, came out shortly after. Well, that doesn't look so good. Let's try a couple more. Oh, that looks great. Not as bad as expected. One more. Ooh. Maybe it's time to move to another country altogether. I'm not really sure from that last headline that we looked at. And that's the problem that we all face, all this input that we get that help us shift our emotions through this optimistic, pessimistic, psychological, sometimes torturous psychological cycle that we go through as investors, especially when we've experienced an economy like we just have. But here's the reality of the situation. I've spent much time studying histories of not just our economy and markets, but those of countries around the world. Unfortunately, huge, devastating recessions have happened many times before and will happen again, and huge market slides that tend to accompany them have also happened before and will probably happen again. Now, here's the big thing, because I can't tell you that for sure, and I can't tell you which side or which resistance level we're going to pass next. What I can say with complete certainty is absolutely, I cannot tell you whether the next 10% market move will be up or if it will be down. But I can tell you the next 100% move in the market will be up. It's always up. Think of what's just happened. If the next 100% move is down, it actually is the end of capitalism and the way of life as we know it. And for those that are really pessimistic and having a hard time waiting, because that's what we have to do as investors, we have to stay disciplined and wait. But for people that are really worried and really scared and paying more attention to the negative headlines that are emerging than the positive headlines, maybe here's a way to think of this. If we go back to March of 2009, we're actually more than 50% up, more than 50% of our way to that 100%, that next 100% move to the upside. So this is Mark Becker, being a financial behavioralist for you today. Try to stay away from the bad psychology. I've got a great client who's also a good friend of mine who recently told me people are like lemmings. They should do themselves a favor and shoot their television. If you feel that drastic, don't tell anybody you got that from me. I'll see you next time.
Good night.